Right, hello everybody, it's Hugh here as always from LOXONE. We are here with another one of our webinars. This one is on the 4 new products released during October. So this is the October products release. We are going to have a quick little slideshow showing all 4 of the products, and then we're going to dive into detail on each one as well in terms of configuration. So let's get this show on the road. Let me share my screen. Let me open this up to present, and let's have a quick look. So 4 new incredible products released this month. We have the tree-to-air bridge, the Shuko extension, the long-awaited and much fabled flush-mounted presence sensor, and the Mini Server Go. And let's take a look at them one by one. So let's start with the tree-to-air bridge. The tree-to-air bridge, just in case nobody has seen it in person yet, this is she. If I put it in the palm of my hand, I need a banana for scale. There it is. It is tiny. It's in the same housing as a Nano DI for anyone that has used a Nano DI before. So a really, really tiny device. So it will fit into pretty much any conventional back box or above the ceiling, wherever. And what it does, it goes on to your tree connection, onto your tree bus, and it acts essentially as an air base. So you can then add air devices to it while it is on tree. There is an example in a European back box. There is an example in the UK back box. You get the idea, although to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't put it in a metal UK back box because you're putting it inside a Faraday cage. If it's a plasterboard back box, fine. Metal one is going to weaken its signal somewhat. So the idea of it, as this image shows, I think this is an example whereby we have a house that we have done new. So this is a newly wired house. So that means that that house has an airbase extension on it. So we've connected the devices within this house to said airbase extension. However, a little bit down the line, customer decides to do a little bit of an extension. And on the extension, they maybe phone you up after it's already been wired and go, I completely forgot to speak to you. I want to put LOXONE in there. No possibility to put new cabling in there. So what we can do is at the last tree device we have at the end of the newly done piece of the property, we can just stick a tree-to-air bridge and connect all of these devices to tree-to-air. So all of these are then going to be air devices just connected to that tree-to-air bridge there. So it gives a very, very flexible option for adding air devices into a project. Another example could be this, which is a commercial office space. And instead of having a single centralized airbase extension, which may struggle for signal for all of the components, we could just chuck in a couple of tree-to-air bridges, pair those air devices to it, bish, bash, bosh, job done. And then just before I get onto the config, for me, my best use case of it, I'm not in any way criticizing Tiran's slides. Tiran does an amazing job. But my best use case for it would be something like this. This is a picture of a completely rank average UK property. We have a downstairs with a kitchen, living, dining room, WC, and then an upstairs with a few bedrooms. This could be a customer that's come to us doing a complete renovation and has said, I want to have LOXONE. And we go, okay, perfect. So we've planned it all out. And what they have underfloor heating downstairs and radiators upstairs, as many properties do. So we've gone and done all of the cabling. We've got tree spots, we've got touch switches, we've got presence sensors, we've got whatever going throughout that property. Now, let's say that it's this little cupboard here is where the fuse board is going and subsequently the LOXONE panel. Now, we could put an airbase extension there and we could put a high gain antenna on it. But the only air devices we will have in this entire property will be 1, 2, 3, 4 valve actuator airs and maybe a touch night light by the bedside. So we are talking 5 air devices all on a different floor to where the LOXONE panel is going. So in this scenario here, actually maybe it would be far better if we actually put a tree to air bridge behind maybe the switch in the landing, or maybe above the present sensor tree that's going in the landing, because the rest of this floor is going to be tree as well. The only air products would be the valve actuators. So let's, instead of having an airbase on the ground floor with a high gain antenna on it, maybe put one of these above the ceiling on the floor where these devices are. If it's going here, then maximum line of sight to each one of the other rooms where that has that valve actuator in, we're talking maybe 5 or 6 meters. That's the general gist of it. So we all know how to connect tree devices to LOXONE. So I'm not going to waste too much time with that. Ah, come on. Should have brought my screwdriver with me. There we go. So what I'm going to do, I just have a couple of pre-made leads. I'm just going to very, very quickly put those pre-made leads on the tree to air bridge. And then I have just a pre-made bit of cable here, just so I can quickly connect it and show you how it all works. And I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, well, why didn't he pre-do this? Why is he doing it during? Well, the reason why is because I have more than one product I need to connect up during this webinar. Okay, there we go. So that is now all connected up, and you can see flashing amber, just like other tree devices do when they're correctly wired in, but they need to be paired. Once that's done, in config, tree extension, tree device search, tree to air bridge, select it, and you can see that it starts flashing rapidly, and we can add it in. When we add it in, it will give us a warning about maximum numbers of tree devices. That is because on an air extension, on an air base extension, you can connect 128 air devices. With the tree to air bridge, you are bound by the number of devices you can connect to a tree branch. So as an example, this tree branch that I have on my system already has 3 tree devices on it. The tree to air bridge also counts as a tree device, so that will be a 4th device. And then every air device that I pair to this will count as an extra usage of that tree extension. So that's why it gives you a warning about a maximum of 50 devices. If I had, for instance, a tree branch in an existing property with 40 devices on, I have 10 free. Add the tree to air bridge, I now have 9 free. That means that I have 9 potential air products that I could add to this tree to air bridge. And yes, everything that you add to it will act as a repeater to the air network, provided that device is permanently powered and providing it is on the same channel. So when you add in a tree to air bridge, it actually puts it on a different channel to your airbase extension. So anything that I pair to this tree to air bridge at this point in time won't be a repeater for anything on this airbase extension. But provided that the channel is relatively free, I could change the channel of the tree to air bridge to be the same as the airbase extension, and then the devices could hop between each other. Alrighty, so tree to air bridge there now added. And then just like you do with any other air device, you grab your air device. I'm using a window handle air because I feel that it doesn't get enough love. And I just want to give it a bit of a show off. I'm just going to put some batteries in, put that in pairing mode. There we go, now in pairing mode. Once that's done, select my tree to air bridge, and then I can do an air device search. And you can see the device is the tree to air bridge, and there is my window handle. Select it, say what room it's going in, say where it's going, and then add. Done. So it is exactly the same as adding air devices to an airbase extension, but you can see there it is sitting underneath the tree to air bridge, and it is counting towards the utilization of this tree branch. Save that in. That is a tree to air bridge sorted. Added to tree, and it can go anywhere along that tree branch. Doesn't have to go at end of line. It's normal tree, put it anywhere along the tree branch. Perfect. So there is the tree to air bridge sorted. There is nothing really else to it. It just offers a really, really flexible option for putting air throughout properties. Another example from me personally, shed at the back of a garden, has a door window contact on, too far away from the nearest air repeater. So there's no signal to it back into the airbase extension in the house. However, I have an undercover alley that I've installed a presence sensor tree in. Stick a tree to air bridge above there, and I'm now all of a sudden within a meter of the door on the shed, I can get signal to it. So it is a great addition. Okay, so that is tree to air bridge done. The next product of the month is the Shuko extension. So Shuko, for anybody that does not know, is a high-end window and door manufacturer. So they make a very, very nice, very, very architecturally pleasing windows and doors. And they have a specific range called Tiptronic, which is an automated range of windows and sliding doors. And they are wired units. So I'm going to show you it in close up. I mean, it's an extension. We all know what an extension looks like. So there is the Shuko extension. You have 3 cores at the top. You have A, B, and ground in the middle. It is a bus system. So from one window to the next, and you can connect up to 30 Shuko Tiptronic windows and sliders to a Shuko extension. And then 120 ohm resistor at end of line. Comes in the box with a Shuko extension. Shuko are actually a fairly large provider of windows and doors in the UK. They're not necessarily always sold as Shuko, but they are fairly common. And the great thing here is that they are automated electrical windows and sliders openings. So I haven't bothered to add in the Shuko extension because, to be honest, I don't have any Shuko windows in my house. Unfortunately, I do not get paid nearly enough to afford them. But I just have an example Shuko extension there. I could do a Shuko search and you can see all of the different ranges of Shuko devices that we could add. So as an example, I could add maybe the Tiptronic Turn LS. So throw that in. I could say that that's a window in the living room. And then expand it. And you can see that you have a range of different inputs available, as well as outputs to open it, close it, and stop it. There are no specific function blocks around Shuko because we decided that there was already enough function blocks in config to do what we need to. So this one here, window status, provides an analog value back to tell you exactly what status the window's in. That is listed on our documentation page. I can't remember exactly. There's about 10 different options, but like a number 16 would mean like closed and locked. 17 would mean closed, unlocked, so on and so forth. So you could do something like a status block, and you could put the window status into there. And from there, you could then within the status block, create your truth table. So if the window status is 16, we could show a nice picture of a, I don't know, of a closed symbol, and we could put status text, window is closed and locked. And then we could do all of the other various different options. So if it equals 17, we could show another kind of symbol, maybe a closed symbol, I don't know. The symbols can all be changed as well. And we could put status text, window is closed and not locked, so on and so forth. And a status block is visualized in the app. So we'd be able to see that in the app with the picture that we've specified and the status text that we've written. Aside from that, you could also use a door and window monitor. So you could have a door and window monitor, and then within the door and window monitor, we could drag in all of these different inputs and outputs. So we have, for instance, IW, window or door contact open. We have IT, window or door contact tilted. And then we also have another one to indicate secured. So we could have open into there, for example, and we could have If it was a tilting window, we could have tilt into IT, and we could have the lock status into II. So that's our status feedback. And then for control, it's just these options here. They will change depending on the window that you've got. And you could use something like a radio button. So you could have a radio button displayed in the app where you have an open, close, and a stop command, for example, and then tie each of the relevant outputs there. Mouse is being a little bit juddery today. So we could have that. Or you could choose to reuse an existing function block, like maybe the skylight. Skylight block, I see no reason why that wouldn't suit as well. You've got an open and a closed. And then to do the stop command, you could do something like edge detection. So you could say that on the falling edge of either the open or the close is when you send the stop command. Edge detection is just what direction it's moving into. So that means as the close or the open command stops, we could send through the stop command. About the only special thing other than the wiring and the config to know about Shuko windows is you do have to use the Shuko software to commission the windows before they are ready to use within config. To do that, the Shuko software is called the Engineering Automation Tool, I believe. You can get it directly from Shuko, and this is what it looks like within the software. So you can see that you can see your element type, the type of unit it is, and you can also set things like open and closing speeds. So there are a few different settings that you can change within the window itself as well. Alrighty, nothing much else on Shuko, apart from, I'm sure, a pretty video. There's no audio, so it doesn't matter. So you can see this is the beauty of Shuko. You've got everyone in, especially in high-end homes, it's all about having that floor-to-ceiling glass, and that is what Shuko specialize in. Really, really high-quality floor-to-ceiling glass. And as you can see there, it's showing an example of automation of the sliders. Alrighty, next product, the flush mounted presence sensor. This has been a wish for a very, very long time by LOXONE partners, and it is finally here. So I'll stop showing my screen so I can show you it in all its glory. So as you can see, it is in the same housing as the Spot. So it should make your ceiling look very, very uniform because you've got the same style of fitting throughout. It is, as you can see, completely flush on the top. So the prism doesn't extend beyond it. So it is a completely flush device made of the exact same material as the Spot. And then obviously you've got the Fresnel lens in the middle. Nothing else to show you really on the hardware. And then on the connections, you've got power and you've got tree data. So the flush mounted presence sensor is tree only. So the presence sensor surface mount, if we shall refer to it as that for the purpose of this webinar, is available air and tree, but the flush mount is only available in tree. The reason being is the assumption is being made that you're drilling holes into the ceiling, therefore you're cabling. So again, I've just connected that up. Once it's all connected again, you've got the orange flashy light. Back to this, in terms of things like detection ranges and all of that, it's exactly the same. You've got a 360-degree horizontal detection range, and then you've got a 110-degree plane, or whatever the correct word for it is. You have motion, brightness, and acoustic sensor. Bish, bash, bosh, job done. And there is a graphic of somebody sticking it into a ceiling. 68 to 72 mil hole cut, put it in a ceiling, connect tree to it, boom, done. There is a quick overview of the models. So as I said, the flush mounted sensor is only available tree. The surface mounted is available tree or air. But a thing to note about the air version of the surface mount presence sensor is the acoustic signal is only if it is permanently powered, not if it is battery powered. And then in terms of config, once it is all connected, again, we just do a tree device search. There it is, present sensor tree, choose the room, choose the installation place. Oh. And add device. Once it is added and then saved in, it will then flash a couple of times green. And then from there, it is good to work with. So there it goes, a couple of times green, stops flashing altogether, and it's now good to configure with. So from there, if we then had another page on our config, we could have, for instance, a lighting controller with a switch and a light connected to it. And then on our present sensor, we could have the brightness connected into there. And then we could have something like the presence block linked to the sensor. So here we have the presence sensor tree, tick that, okay. Presence sensor is now linked within this block. And then this block here, we can just link to our lighting controller, save in, presence sensor sorted. And that's it. It's the device that you are all used to, just in a new package. Okay, right. So this is going a lot quicker than I expected it to. So let's hope there's a few Q&As at the end. Okay, and then final device that we released as part of Product October, the Mini Server Go. Notice I'm not saying Gen 2 there, because as with all LOXONE products, the previous version gets the generation number and the new version takes its name. So it's the same with the Touch Pure, with the Mini Server. The new version has no generation number on it, and it is the previous version that gets the generation number. The price is the same, so there's no change in price to it. It is still a Mini Server Go, so you've still got link on the back of it, you've still got an SD card slot, still got an Ethernet jack, still got USB for power. So all of that is exactly the same. The difference is all under the hood. So the first change is that the processing capability of the Mini Server Go is now the same as the Mini Server. So we are talking, I don't remember exactly how much, something like 21 times more powerful than the Generation 1 Mini Server Go. In addition to that, we have also been working incredibly hard behind the scenes on air transmission power. And as a result, the Mini Server Go now boasts 3 times the transmission power for air that the Mini Server Go Gen 1 did. So 3 times the air transmission power. Alongside the updated hardware also means that this will now support IPv4 and IPv6, as well as HTTPS connections. And alongside that, then also means that it supports our Remote Connect service. There is really nothing else to tell you about the Mini Server Go. It is exactly the same in all other respects as the Gen 1 in terms of its use, but you should have better air range. You are able to do remote connection without port forwarding, and things like saving in, reboots, they'll all be quicker because of that increased processing power. For anyone that doesn't know, Remote Connect is a feature that is available on the Mini Server and Mini Server Go, obviously the new generations of them, whereby you don't need to port forward to get remote access. All you need to do is when you are on the Configure Mini Server tab under External Access, this one here is Gen 1, which is why you can't see it, but on a Gen 2, there is a button here that says Use Remote Connect Service. And that is all you have to do is tick that button and press Apply and Send to Mini Server. On a Gen 2 Mini Server, do not do any port forwarding. Tick Use Remote Connect Service, Apply and Send, and you are done. If you have a project with a Gen 1 Mini Server Go and you wanted to swap to a Gen 2 Mini Server Go, then very simply, right click on your Mini Server and replace Mini Server. and then you get a nice replacement dialog, and you just choose the new generation, next, and you literally just follow the steps. So it creates a backup for you of the current config. You then keep going through. I'm not going to finish it all the way, but on the next page, it will then ask me to select my new mini server. I select the new mini server, press replace, job done. That's it. All there is to it. All righty. So I'm just going to check to see whether I've missed any slides. I think there's one or two. So there we go. Just, you know, because I know all this off the top of my head, 21 times more computing power than the Gen 1, 3 times greater LOXONE air transmission power, HTTPS and SSL, IPv6. And then for LOXONE partners, please check your partner area of our website for any current offers or any current specials we have going on any of the previously mentioned products. We obviously want to make sure that for you as LOXONE partners, that there is a good incentive for you to get any new products to try them out. So please check your partner area, any of that. But as a just quick go back, just to double check I didn't miss anything, tree to air bridge, great product for adding air anywhere basically. As long as you have tree, you can stick it on the end of tree and you can add air devices to it. Is a great option for a property where you may have just 2 or 3 air devices that are a long way away from your LOXONE panel. It could be good for a project where you have half of it as a new build, half of it as a retrofit. And again, you don't want the airbase all the way over here in your new build part. You want to have it closer to your other devices. Also great for things like offices so that you can decentralize the air throughout. Because it goes on tree, it takes up your utilization of your tree branch. So the bridge itself takes up 1 device, and every air device you add to it takes up another device on your tree network. The Shuko extension allows you to connect up to 30 Shuko Tiptronic units to that extension. They are wired as a bus, and then they are automated windows and sliders, which you can monitor and control through LOXONE. The flush-mounted presence sensor is a tree-only device in the same housing as the LOXONE Spot, and is, other than that, the product that we have all known for a long time. And then finally, the Mini Server Go. More power, more processing power, greater air transmission range, and support for the Remote Connect service. Perfect. That is it for me. I actually went through that a hell of a lot quicker than I expected to. So you don't get held up too long. Let's go now for a Q&A.